I'm excited today, and I hope Adam is as well. We're going to talk about the very first episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. And this is, of course, episode one of 176 episodes that hopefully me and Adam will get through.
You're being really optimistic there.
I'm playing the long game with this. And this is entitled Encounter at Farpoint, first aired in 1987. September 28th. So we were going to try and do this last month, and the timing wasn't right. But hey, the feeling was there. This episode was written by DC Fontana and Gene Roddenberry himself. This is part one of the Humanity on Trial arc. And DC Fontana and Gene Roddenberry worked on Star Trek, the original series. So we have a few people here who are OG Star Trek writers. And just so you know, DC Fontana wrote for Star Trek, the original series, Star Trek, the animated series, Star Trek, the Next Generation, and her last episode was Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So she did like huge swath. She died only like 3 years ago as well.
Yeah. I mean, on paper, this should have been really good, but here we go.
Wow. Okay. And Gene Roddenberry himself, the great bird in the sky, he also wrote for TOS, and he got a story credit for the motion picture, and he did only 3 episodes of TNG. In fact, DC Fontana did 5 episodes of TNG. So I don't know about that. He just seemed to be like the guy who just had his hands over everybody else. And I mean that figuratively and literally, if you know the stories. So first impressions. I'd say for a pilot this old, it's got the intrigue, it's got adventure, mystery, and some halfway decent characterizations, but the plot suffers with some bad dialogue and overuse of sentimentality through its music and other characterizations.
What?
What were your first impressions coming to this? And don't forget, I've watched this before. But
yeah, I know. I was thinking, what is he making me watch? What is this?
You always do
what
that.
The hell is this? This was I think my memory either was erased this or I've not seen this before. It did seem familiar in parts, but this was something.
You didn't like it?
It's dated as fuck. It seems to be a show that can't seem to find, like, it's struggling with its identity because it's coming up from the heels of the original Star Trek, and it's 4 or 5 films and like 3 seasons and a animated series they did as well. So it's coming off the heels of that. And I feel like this show was like somewhere stuck in between an identity crisis of being stuck in the 60s and 70s. And it didn't know what to do. The dialogue was terrible. All the characters seemed to like genuinely hate each other. It just was really weird. Some of the dialogue was very strange. Picard seemed like a creepy serial killer type thing where he hated kids.
Usually they love kids, but okay.
There's a weird line in it when he was talking to Riker about something. He's like, "Don't embarrass me in front of the captains." And the captain of like, apparently, "Don't embarrass me and make what did he say?" He said something like, "Make an ass of myself with the children" or something. And it was just like, what the hell? And then I laughed again because like Crusher comes on with her son onto the bridge and he's like, "No children on the bridge." And I was just like, oh my god, this guy.
Okay. So clearly we're coming at this from 2 different perspectives. Now, I just want to clarify, because I'm judging this from the standards of the 80s and I'm judging it from now. That's why I'm saying it's still kind of it has got intrigue and the adventure, kind of, and the mystery, because you're like wondering what is going on. But as Q says later, I made this a bit simple for you, and I'll get into that a little bit more. But how are you judging it? Are you judging it by looking at it now, knowing science fiction has moved forward so much more?
No, I knew it was going to be. I knew it was going to be dated. I knew that going forward. I just didn't know that it was going to be. It was like comically bad, and I thought this was the pilot of a new season. From what I've read as well, because I had to like see what other people thought about this. I read some things, and then they said that basically the first 2 seasons of TNG are terrible, and then when it gets to like when it gets to season 3, then it starts picking up and starts becoming the legendary show that it has become to known as. But the first 2 seasons apparently are a bit hit and miss.
There's some good episodes in season 1, I think, and there's some good episodes in season 2. In fact, if you could truncate the first 2 seasons into one season to get a decent season, because there are a lot of
Yeah,
episodes. With regards to the pacing,
yeah, it felt like 2 episodes, like 2 different scripts put into one, and it felt definitely a bit too long in the two.
okay, where did it feel like it was two scripts in one?
Because at one point you were having the trial, and that was fine. It felt like the next bit you were doing something else with the crew, and it took them like they were going down to the planet and they were seeing people there, but it was just like they already had Starfleet on the planet, but Picard was going on about a mission to snoop, and it felt disjointed in that way because I thought, well, clearly Starfleet are already on the planet and they're already established, but we're going having
Yeah,
a mission saying we're going to snoop. It
they're
just
not.
seems very strange.
Yeah, the whole idea that Farpoint Station is at the end of the known frontier, and then there's just casually some officers there, probably from the USS Hood, and they've got different orders, I guess. They're just enjoying the facilities, and the Galaxy class Enterprise has the orders to snoop. So that I can understand and
Yeah,
hand wave away. But just to explain, when they were trying to create this pilot, envision it, and write for it, the executives were arguing with Gene Roddenberry, and supposedly, if you read Memory Alpha, supposedly there was a lot of shouting and argy bargy. And Gene Roddenberry has always been against episodes that are more than an hour in length. That's why TOS only has like one two-parter. And he wanted a 1 hour episode, but the executives wanted a 2 hour televisual movie. And so there's this push and pull between the runtime. And so when DC Fontana writes the episode, she only writes 90 minutes. And then supposedly writes 90 minutes, and then Gene adds on the rest. So you've got two writers here playing with this format, but she never knew what the actual runtime was until the very end. So that's why it's uneven and things feel tacked on and the pacing is weird, and it's just like,
yeah.
why are they running away from this flying grid, and then they spend time introducing Riker and the saucer reconnection part? It's like, dude, I thought you were under a time limit here. I thought the end of humanity mattered, and here we are, we're trying to test Riker's metal with a Galaxy class docking procedure. It's just like, what? The
Yeah.
small thing, the minutia, we don't care. And why is Commander Data in the holodeck whistling? Why isn't he trying to figure shit out? Why isn't he trying to do science stuff? It's just weird though, isn't it? The way they just introduce a new thing, and then you're under the pressure of the story itself, where humanity
Yeah.
faces death.
The trial was very strange in terms of Q just shows up and then they're put into this trial sort of scenario with different, I guess, in a weird Mad Max Thunderdome type area with different people from around different timelines, I'm guessing.
Oh, it's
During
from the
this trial.
it's from this century at some point, yeah.
And it just felt really weird. But I like the visuals are good with Q and stuff like that. And then, but obviously Picard and Q can sort of, have back and forths all day long. It just felt really strange. Even the characters, because you sort of know TNG characters. I sort of know them from a bit more modern. So seeing them in this first episode was really strange because they don't necessarily get on any of them, and the
It's so
dialogue's really
raw.
strange. It's like they're not really developed characters yet. They're just
Oh yeah, of
really
course. Yeah.
robotic in a lot of ways.
You're actually front loaded with a lot of information. So when you watch it, I guess for the first time, you're like, why is that dude wearing a bandana across his eyes? Yeah, so that's weird. And they explain it just for that scene, and then he buggers off. It doesn't matter to the story. And then Data
Yeah,
says,
yeah.
I want to be human. Like he says it in the first episode. Like, why? Why do you need to say that now? You're talking about how great you are, and he's like, I'll gladly give it up. Like, I don't think you understand the consequences of what you're saying. And then
Yeah.
Deanna's abilities, she mentions it to Groppler Zorn about her dad. It's like, this is extra
Oh, Groppler Sword.
And then
Groppler Sword.
the Doctor's relationship with Picard and getting Wesley on the bridge. I'm like, this is all overly sentimental and drawn out, and you're under the threat of death, remember? Everyone's under the threat. The humanity. When I mean everyone, I mean humanity. And you're like, okay, bring the boy on the bridge. Yeah, sit on the chair.
That was weird as well. You got some weird POV shots of like
Yes.
the deck and Worf. Wolf was just constantly in POV shot, and he looks weird as well. The makeup is not up to
Well,
par. His head looks massive.
there's a moment
Mm.
that cracked me up where Q appears on the view screen and Worf gets out his phaser,
Oh,
right?
I was
And
gonna say that.
Picard says, well, you got to shoot the view screen. But the thing is, now we have the benefit of hindsight. They say, Riker says, it was a good thinking, whatever. And then Worf says, I'll endeavor to do better. And he never does. He always gets talked down to for the rest of the 7 seasons of TNG. He always gets his arms broken by some alien invader. He gets shot. He doesn't improve.
I was gonna say to you that as well. Like he appears on the screen, and then Wolf's just like, "I'm like, what
Yeah.
are you gonna do? Shoot!"
The
Oh, it's
episode
brilliant.
suffers because, as you pointed out, these writers are coming from TOS, and so there is a very much a TOS feel to using the music, to bringing the camera in for the zoom ins and stuff like that. It's paced like a
Yeah,
TOS episode, but it's out of date even
yeah,
by 80s standards. And every time the music
yeah.
came on, have you ever watched Battlestar Galactica?
Only bits.
It just reminded me when this orchestral music starts, I'm like, oh, that's how Battlestar Galactica did it. But Battlestar Galactica had a hard on for its visual effects because they were cutting edge. Because
Yeah.
for a TV show straight after Star Wars, everyone was like, oh my god. But the music as well was overused, and it reminded me of Battlestar Galactica. But story wise, I mean, I opened the episode by saying there was intrigue, adventure, mystery. Do you not agree, or did a lot of the cheesiness and the rawness of the episode get in the way of that? Did you not wonder, since you don't have a memory of it, like what was going on? What was Groppler Zorn
Um,
hiding?
Grop, it was funny. I liked Grop Zorn. That was quite funny. I don't know why he made me laugh so much, but just the name as well, Grop
Okay.
Zorn. And I thought, why is he not in more episodes? He could just be just completely scattered in other episodes. That'd be quite funny. I did read something about Deanna Troy. She was meant to be eye candy or something.
Oh, I don't know
She was
about
meant to
that.
be eye candy. Yeah, I read a phone fact, and it's like she was meant to be eye candy. That's what Gene Roddenberry wanted, and he wanted her to have 4 breasts. But
What?
his wife made him like say no.
Gene loves the sex stuff. He was a freak.
So I know miniskirts made a return in this. I was like, wow, miniskirts are back.
But my question was, did you find the episode intriguing? Did you find there was enough mystery there to sort of make the episode worth your while?
Kept my attention, but I think I was just too distracted by how goofy it all seemed. It seemed really dated, and the effects, the makeup, and the strange dialogue. The characters were just acting really
Yeah.
weird. They didn't really know their place or their footing in the actual series or what was going to be a big series in the end, basically. But it seemed really weird and disjointed to me at the start, and that's what sort of distracted me a little bit from the plot. But then again, the plot was a bit all over the place. And when they did move away from the trial bit, I got a bit like, let's go back to the trial stuff. It was a bit more interesting than the planetary, space station
Right.
shit.
By the way, which version did you watch? Did you watch the Blu-ray version?
It was just on Netflix.
I think Netflix has the Blu-ray version then, because it's got the updated effects. But for
Yeah.
me, the Blu-ray version I think is great. The effects are great, and they stand they still hold up today. Even by the time of Enterprise, some of the CGI is terrible, but here it's all
Mm,
model work, and you can tell it's model work. But for the aliens especially, but for the
mm.
ship, oh my god, this. But for the ship itself, the Enterprise, it looks spectacular. I can only imagine
Mm,
what people thought back in the 80s when it obviously didn't have the Blu-ray version, that it was still like
yeah.
cutting edge. So it holds up.
Yeah, I like the opening shot of the Enterprise. Yeah, definitely.
I watched, I think it was like a season 5 episode back on BBC Two when it was out weekly. When Encounter at Farpoint started, and you have that weird shot where you're coming up from below the Enterprise into the bridge, into the captain's ready room, I thought,
Mm,
oh no, this is an old one. And I was so
mm.
disappointed because I didn't want to watch old TNG even then as a kid.
Yeah,
They'd
yeah,
gone back because sometimes they recycle them, and I'd hit
yeah.
the reset on this. I was like, damn it, there's no new Star Trek. And then now I actually like this episode. It's not amazing, it's not perfect, but as a
I was gonna ask.
curiosity, it satisfies me.
I was going to ask you, like, what's with the battle bridge thing? What's that? It's like a weird, like, it
Well,
seems
it's just a
separate. Like there was like a,
yeah, it's a bridge for
yeah,
the Star Drive section.
okay. It just seems really odd. I don't remember seeing that.
Yeah,
And then
they never really use it.
O'Brien's just up there. O'Brien's
Right.
just up there.
Can you isn't it strange that O'Brien is there from the beginning?
But it made me laugh because he was there, and then all the characters were in that room, and then obviously they disappeared because Q took them to the trial
Yeah.
thing, and then they just came back and they were in different positions, and he didn't even blink. He needed to react. He didn't say what the fuck.
I think he was under a spell of some kind because you can't be that
Okay.
nonchalant. And I think the dialogue is trying to tell you that, oh, we're on a heading of da-da-da, but Picard never said that heading. He never set it, sorry.
Yeah,
So
okay.
he must have been under the influence. Yeah, so the 1 hour mark, I noted that they actually start exploring the facility. I can't remember if it was a scene after or a scene before it. The USS Hood leaves, and Captain Picard says, oh, did he get my message? And au revoir, mon ami, all that jazz. And Q even says, you're wasting time. And I thought that is so meta because the episode is written in a way to waste time. He's like Q's there already in a sort of postmodernist sort of verbiage, like at them. Every time the effects did happen, by the way, I always thought of Bender from that Futurama episode where it's like, ooh, what a cheesy effect. They are cheesy, but especially for the aliens. But like I say, the ships stand up. All the ship and the model work all stands up.
Yeah, definitely.
What doesn't stand up is the false heightened drama. Think about when Data or Data's stunt double pulls Wesley out of the water. It's like, why? He can just stand up. He's not drowning. Or when Data fires his phaser at the wooden door to get out, it's like, why? You just punch it. You're an android.
Yeah.
Or the source of separation sequence. It's so poorly timed. There's so much happening, and yet nothing actually happens.
That whole thing was weird. It seemed like a horror movie. It was like shot like it was a horror movie.
Which scene are you talking about?
Sorry, in the holodeck.
Oh, okay. Why? Huh? Really?
It just felt like they're creepy. He's got the whole whistle thing going on. Riker's like coming around. I was just like, Data's looking really weird and saying really weird things, and I'm like,
okay, that's actually the first scene they shot for the pilot is the holodeck scene on location somewhere, and that's why his makeup isn't as clever because he's still got pink lips and what have you.
Yeah,
and he's so human. He actually like androids himself up a bit when he gets into the role a bit more. He's more of an android. Yeah, he's smiling, gesturing like a human.
So the creepy smile. Yeah.
But you remember that scene was in the other sort of fan fiction Star Trek show, Picard, where Riker has to get on board that space station and he's trying to remember the whistling. One last thing about this plot that didn't make sense was that Deanna was saying, don't worry, I can only sense emotions. That's why she's freaking out about the aliens all the time, right? But it made me think, if you had one full telepath, they would find that alien and then that's it, show's over. They would know it's an alien that's the space station.
I felt like the show was over when Picard was like, we surrender, put it out in all languages, and all rolls of credits were done.
Yeah, so dramatic. When it comes to the plot, these aliens that don't speak, and they've got these tendrils, and one's blue, one's pink, and we know which one's been emasculated, or has been enslaved. It's very sort of black and white, sort of not very deep mystery. But I've always tried to get into the headspace of watching it from 40 years ago when you watch it for the first time, and it's like, why is Deanna crying? Why is she always crying? Why is she so upset?
They've fleshed her character out a lot.
Put her out of her misery. Come on, figure it out.
Oh, she was like just not fleshed out at all in this first episode. She was just crying all the time, or they just kept on saying random emotions.
Do you think any of them were fleshed out? Yeah, any of them.
No.
Did you notice, by the way, that the guy that they freeze on the bridge, he's Hispanic?
No, I forgot about the freezing thing, like a fire extinguisher going off.
Right. But he's Hispanic. His name is Torres. His character name is Torres, and his real name is Jimmy Ortega. But you've got Ortegas in that fan fiction Star Trek series, Strange New Worlds.
Fan fiction.
Yeah, it's all fan fiction. Not even fan fiction, it's just fiction because the shows are not written by fans. Sorry, I shouldn't be dunking on them, but when you see the two, you can see that to me, this one tries. It actually tries to give you something. Come on, you got to admit that.
There's ideas and there's everything coming out. But like I say, it's coming off the heels of the original show, so it's going to have that sort of familiarity and some of those things from there that sort of bleed into this. This is be a natural thing, and it became its own standalone thing as time went on. It moved away from that and became its own thing and became really, really like a big successful series.
Yeah, sure, it became a cultural milestone. It still is. Actually, amongst people our age. That's why Star Trek Picard season 3 was so. Sorry, Picard season 3 was so well liked.
Yeah.
I do find though that in the plot, Q is a convenience when you say it's disjointed. The fact that he comes in and he's like, "Don't let me interfere," but the fact that he's there is now him interfering anyway, and they just go against everything that he says you should do. You shouldn't have been there. Because the alien can't speak, so you're not going to get anything out of the alien. Yeah, there was just loads of questions apart from even what I just said before about if you had a full Betazoid, you would have figured it out straight away. But there's loads of little things that you can nitpick. But the ultimate question is, Adam, what would you rather watch? One episode from season 2 of Strange New Worlds, or would you rewatch this pilot?
I'd rewatch that.
This is going to be the measuring stick going forward. What would you rather watch? Strange New Worlds, Discovery, or a TNG episode from season 1?
This is already more memorable and obviously more memeable as well. But like Strange New Worlds, I've already forgotten most of it. I can't remember much of it. It's ridiculous because it was so bad. And I'd never go back to watch it. Like I never would.
Right.
Season 1, I wouldn't mind if it was on the TV and there's a couple of episodes. I'd be like, okay, yeah, I'd have it on and then I'd watch it because it was okay. I liked that. I thought season 1 was quite good. Season 2 was just dumpster fire. It was absolutely ridiculous. Just hot garbage. Just absolute terrible. You need to like go back to basics when it comes to if you do another season because that was awful.
And don't forget, viewers, myself and Adam, we watched every single episode. So if you'd like to watch those reviews, check out the YouTube channel. There's a playlist.
Oh, the space jellyfish, they also are in the pilot of Voyager as well, aren't they?
No.
Are they not?
No.
You sure?
Yes.
Sure I read that somewhere.
They're in the 4th episode of Picard season 3, if you remember, in that
Okay.
nebula, and all the little aliens
Yeah.
come out because right.
Yeah.
So
Are they in
it
Voyager?
links.
Do they appear in Voyager though? I'm sure.
No, but there are spacefaring creatures in Voyager, just different species,
Okay.
but not in the pilot.
McCoy as well was in this episode, and he had bad makeup.
Oh.
That was terrible, wasn't it?
I was going to ask you. I forgot. Thank you for reminding me. Did that surprise you?
A little bit.
Like, boy,
Because at first I was like, "Who's that?
Boy.
And why is he talking like that?"
that's how he
And
talks.
then
but
I realized who he was, and I was like, "Why is he like that?"
they amped up the foghorn leghorn sort of dialogue. Like, boy,
Yeah.
what you talking about, boy? I mean, it's a good job
haven't
Data
got-
wasn't black, isn't it? It's a good job
It's
he's
like,
like
you
the
haven't got-
whitest character.
He was like, "You haven't got pointy ears, boy."
You sound like a damn
my
Vulcan,
God.
boy.
Oh my God.
You treat this ship like a lady now, you hear? Boy.
I mean, I liked his little cardigan with his admiral things on the top. That was nice.
Yeah, you can tell either it's a special admiral's uniform or they just didn't know how to design an admiral's uniform yet.
Oh, it's a special little cardi they knitted.
Even back in the 80s, they kept that scene secret, you know.
Oh, really?
It's sort of like Michael from The Office. They didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
They kept that sting locked down.
Apparently, didn't he live to the ripe old age for like 150 or something?
Something like that,
That's awesome.
probably. Probably in the books or the fan fiction, yeah. But the fact he's still around, he's operating off the best medical technology now. I've titled this part of the episode, All Good Things. Hope you get the reference. I've got 3 things that I like. How many have you got?
I got 3.
Do you want to go first?
They're not.
Tell me
They're not great.
It's okay.
They're not great.
Fine.
They're just kind of stereotypical. My first is like the effects for the ships. That was one of my main ones because I was quite impressed with how it looked still. My next one would be the introduction of Q, which I've already mentioned pretty much because I like the character. And the visual of him in that judge's sort of outfit still is sort of like used today in all across sort of memes and stuff like that and action figures and all sorts of stuff. That image is still kind of number 1 tier in people's memories, even though this episode is really old and really weird. And I put down miniskirts because I was quite surprised to see miniskirts. It's not even a big deal, but I was like, wow, look, miniskirts. Look at the women wearing miniskirts.
Did you notice
That harkens back to the original. The guy wearing one, yeah.
there's a guy wearing one? And also, I think Tasha Yar in the final shot is wearing a miniskirt.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, I think in the final shot, and it's the only time you ever see her in a miniskirt. 2 of my likes are very similar to yours. Ship effects, perfectly fine, perfectly serviceable. I still like them. Q, I'm surprised how John Delancey nailed that character from the beginning, whereas all the other characters aren't really fleshed out enough. Or, I mean, there isn't a lot to Q anyway, but because he can ham it up, he just keeps staying there to ham it up, I guess. So
Yeah.
if you watch the last episode now, but don't, you'll see like there's no change between how John Delancey plays Q. And my last good thing is I like what this next generation introduces. They created the holodeck. The idea of a holodeck back in the 80s was like, oh, that's true science fiction. But today we've now got the Meta, the Vision Pro. We're getting there with that. Voice assistants, the comm badges like mobile phones, touchscreen technologies.
Yeah.
I like how all of that was set up in 1987, and we're now getting the fruit of that imagination in its realist form. And if you watch New Trek, they have some like that malleable matter in Discovery to sort of create unique consoles and stuff. That's so far away. That's so you've lost people. It's too fantastical. And no show from New Trek introduces something and says, this is something we can do with technology. This is what's possible. Something that we can actually aim for. All of stuff. We did it in 40 years. And we've got it, but it doesn't look dated to me.
Yeah, everyone's wandering around with pads and stuff like that. Like iPads are a thing now. And then in the show, they were walking around with those things, and you kind of like, you didn't think about it, you just looked at them and, oh, they have future.
So I just like the imagination, and it shows the level of thought, forward thinking they put into the show. Because obviously they play on it later on, and they update these things, they progress with the show. And it inspires like Steve Jobs and what have you to start, well, he says he got the iPad from Star Trek, I think. But that's why they call it a pad, pad. So the similarities there are like 1-to-1. And they had to create like an operating system. They had to fake an operating system for all that touchscreen technology. They like ours system and stuff. Those are my all good things.
Pretty much said all my good things. The space jellyfish, that's not a good thing, but it happened.
Okay. I want to hit you with 7 random facts since you're the newbie and I'm the nerd for this. Are you ready? We've got 7 minutes left, and I've got 7 facts for you. This is the only TNG episode in which a male stunt performer doubled for an actress. When Denise Crosby is doing her kung fu, if you look carefully, it's a dude wearing a wig. Okay?
God.
So bad. It's so bad when you see it. Fact number 2, Colm Meaney and Patrick Stewart are in this pilot and DS9's pilot. And fact number 3, Patrick Stewart says the first words in both this pilot and DS9's pilot, but he's obviously Locutus in DS9. Fact number 4, Wesley, the boy genius, which they had to sort of lay the groundwork for in this episode. The boy genius was supposed to be a girl called Leslie, and Crusher was supposed to leave Leslie or Wesley with Picard, meaning this would be her only episode, but they wrote her in. Isn't that strange? Okay. Like Leslie. That's strange. Leslie. And as you said, he sounds like a bit of a serial killer, and you're going to hand over this girl or boy, undecided at the time of writing, to Picard, and he doesn't want to be a father. Isn't that strange? They play with that for the rest of Picard's life, right up until that fan fiction effort. Fact number 6, Troy and Riker are based on 2 characters from Star Trek the Motion Picture, Commander Decker and Ayala, the bald woman who gets taken over by the Vija probe. So a lot of the elements from a Star Trek Phase 2 TV series is used for TNG. That's why if you go and watch the movies, the deck of the Enterprise A looks the same as the deck as the Enterprise D. They use the same set. They just dressed it up a little bit differently. Right? So if you watch the motion picture now, you can say, oh, that's Riker and Deanna right there. Those are the foundational characters in which they're based off. Fact number 7, Michael Piller, who becomes the showrunner, I think, in season 3, which is what makes TNG better, later co-created DS9 and said this pilot influenced how he wrote DS9, which was made only 5 years later, by the way. Big difference if we ever get to DS9. For example, the late introduction of Riker, Geordi, and Beverly allowed him to introduce Dax and Bashir later in that episode, The Emissary. Those are my 7 facts for you to fill your brain up with.
Wow. I gave you a fact. You know that the Gene Roddenberry wanted Deanna Troi to have 4 breasts.
Is that true? Really?
It's true. Look it up.
Deanna with 4 breasts. Okay. When I said to you at the beginning of the episode, so we're coming back full circle, when I said to you that Gene Roddenberry was hands-on, and I said literally and figuratively, you know, he was like banging members of the cast.
Yeah,
and he wanted sex-themed episodes, so he was always into the kinky stuff. So if we ever get to Captain's Holiday, which I think is season 3, he was like, Risa, yes, I like that episode. I like the idea, a sex planet. We want that. I want that.
Well, of course you're going to have that. I mean, Kirk was like all over the women, right?
Yeah, but we're talking about Gene, like banging the actresses. Supposedly he banged the woman who played Uhura, Nichelle Nichols. He banged number one from the pilot of TOS, who later becomes Deanna Troi's mother. So
a lot of thumbs up for this actor.
I know. I don't like this new feature. I'm going to try and turn it off somehow.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't have anything else to say about this episode. We've got 3 minutes left. I'm really happy that you watched it.
Yeah, I'd be grateful.
and you would watch it over over more modern Trek in some ways.
Yeah.
Let's leave it there. Thanks for your time. Thank you for everyone watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do. We're going to try and do one of these at least once a month, and season 1 will take us 2 years at this rate. So we got 14 years of videos, dude.
Oh, okay.
7 seasons. All right. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one, which will be